Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're able to hear me. My name is Onika Williams, and I'm chair of the National Bar Association Young Lawyers Division. Before we start today's program, we would like to take a moment of silence to acknowledge the passing of a legal giant, United States Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Thank you. Today is National Voter Registration Day. National Voter Registration Day seeks to increase civic participation by encouraging Americans to register to vote and then turn out to vote in record numbers this year. As a nonpartisan national holiday, National Voter Registration Day counts on thousands of partners and volunteers across the political spectrum. Started in 2012, National Voter Registration Day is designed to create an annual moment when the entire nation focuses on registering Americans to exercise their most basic right, the right to vote. The National Bar Association Young Lawyers Division is proud to serve as an official National Voter Registration Day partner. The National Bar Association was founded in 1925 and is the nation's oldest and largest national network of predominantly African American attorneys and judges. The YLD is the home of the young lawyer within the NBA and represents the interests of young Black attorneys under the age of 40 years old or originally admitted to practice within the past 10 years, whichever is more inclusive. This year's NBA YLD theme, 2020 and Beyond, recognizing the importance of the young lawyer, will be seen throughout 7 programmatic areas. 1, election protection, voter registration and education. 2, COVID-19 recovery efforts. 3, efforts to eliminate police brutality. 4, continued 2020 census efforts. 5, professional and skills development. 6, mental health and wellness. And 7, pipeline programs and mentorship opportunities. Tonight's program is part of NBA YLD's civic engagement efforts to mobilize communities nationwide to register to vote, formulate a voting plan for the upcoming 2020 election, and answer President Hoffler's call to action, #CK's Charge to Vote. The short program will last about 20 minutes, and then we will get back to networking. First, we will hear from past YLD chair and current NBA board member at large, Chanel Autry, about why it is important that we register to vote and encourage others to do the same. Then we will hear from Ashley Lee, NBA YLD's election protection co-chair, about NBA YLD's partnership with When We All Vote. Ashley will provide some important information and links we will be asking you to share. Last but not least, we will be hearing from Camille Glover about Lawyers and Callers, an election protection project YLD has been specifically asked to participate in. Up next, Chanel.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank Chair Williams for having me. I'm so excited about this bar year. There's been already just an amazing amount of programming and participation. And so I'm so pleased to be talking with you all today about the importance of voting and why it is crucial that we get involved. As we all know, voting is one of the most fundamental rights that many of our forefathers fought for so hard over the past centuries. And what we have to do is make sure that we remain engaged and active in the fight to ensure that everyone who wants to vote, votes. And those who are on the fence about voting, we convince them of the importance of using their voice in that capacity. And so our job as young lawyers is to make sure that we reach out to friends, reach out to family members, make sure that they know what the process is for voting in their state. Do they understand what their current voter registration status is? Are there any impediments that they have to voting? And what would be the timeline for them to rectify those impediments prior to the election day? There are so many ways that we can be involved. And what we have to do is ensure that we bring all of the intellect that we have to the table, make sure that we stay on the ball in our respective states and our respective local jurisdictions, make sure that we're tweeting, providing information via social media if you use it, really staying as engaged as possible over the next 40 to 41 days, because as we all know, the fate of our democracy is in our hands. I want to thank Chair Williams for having me this evening. I look forward to hearing about the work that will be happening with YLD over the next coming weeks, and also to participating. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Lee, as Chair Onika Williams mentioned, and I'd just like to reiterate our thanks for joining us today for National Voter Registration Day. And as past Chair Autry mentioned, we have to get involved. This is one of the most critical elections of our life. And I'm so proud to reiterate that the NBA YLD is proud to partner with When We All Vote, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that's on a mission to increase participation in every single election and close the race and age gaps for voting by changing the culture around voting and harnessing grassroots energy through strategic partnerships to reach all Americans that are eligible to vote. And we are so proud to partner with this organization that was launched in 2018 by Michelle Obama. And as our chair, Onika Williams, mentioned, we're only about 41 days out until Election Day, which is November 3rd. And that means we're only a few short days away from the first voter registration deadlines in October. And as a When We All Vote partner, we have access to numerous resources that I'll post in the chat in just a moment. And I hope that each one of you will, one, make your plan to vote. And as part of your plan to vote, I hope that you will check your registration status. There's a lot of fishy kind of stuff happening with voter registration. So it's important to check your voter registration status every 30 days leading up to the election. Also encourage your family members to do so and friends, and post, as past Chair Autry just mentioned. One, if you're not registered to vote, please, please, please register to vote. And I'll post a link where you can see all the registration deadlines from When We All Vote. And if you're planning to vote by mail or by absentee ballot, please request your absentee ballot now. And as soon as you receive it, please return it as quickly as possible. This is not the time to kind of procrastinate. We need to get those ballots requested and then get them returned as soon as possible. And then if you plan to early vote or vote on Election Day, please just have that as part of your plan. While we can't tell you who to vote for, we do encourage you to make this plan and execute your plan to vote. In the words of John Lewis, let's get into good trouble for the next 41 days. Thank you.
Okay, see you, Camille.
Good evening, everyone. And first, I want to wish you a happy National Voter Registration Day. If you have not already done so, please make sure that you register to vote, and make sure on or before Election Day that you exercise your right to vote. I'm here to discuss with you an exciting program called Lawyers and Callers, which is a partnership and a collaborative effort between the NBA YLD. We've specifically asked for you all to help out, as well as the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law and the Skinner Leadership Institute. I, along with you all, will be participating in a virtual command center, which will allow us to help ensure that all people in 9 designated states, will have the right to vote. At this time, I'd like to do a short presentation. So if possible, I want to be able to share my screen. So I think, let's see, do I click share screen? And can you all see that? Okay, so can you all see it?
We can't, or I cannot see it. Can anyone in the audience see it?
Let me see. It's like, I think it's taking, okay, that might be the issue. Okay, there we go.
Okay, we see it now.
All right. So this is our presentation on Lawyers and Callers. It will be a virtual command center on Election Day. And so the first thing I want to say, I know that most of us or many of us have worked on election protection before, but I don't want to assume that people really understand. So I'll just briefly define election protection. This comes from the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Election protection is a nonpartisan voter protection program, and it provides Americans or anyone, depending on where you are in the world, from coast to coast with comprehensive information and assistance at all stages of voting. This could be from registration to absentee and early voting to casting a vote at the polls to overcoming obstacles for someone to participate in voter registration or actually voting. Election protection helps voters make sure their vote is counted through a number of resources. Now, for our purposes, we will be mostly focusing on election day and those things that are tied to that. The Lawyers and Callers program defined is, again, a collaborative effort between young attorneys and pastors or church-based lawyers to help ensure that we can protect people's right to vote. We as attorneys will be doing this virtually through a virtual command center, and the pastors or the callers part of the program will be showing up at various polling sites and working with their congregation. So for our program, there are 9 states that we will serve, and those states are Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. For our program purposes, we will have 2 levels that we deal with. The first are basic voting issues. So that could be something like, what time does my polling place open? Or I'm not sure, where I'm supposed to go, because as we know, sometimes those who will show up to the polls have fewer polling places or different polling places. So it could be some smaller issues like that. Those will be things that designated people, and you'll be assigned to certain states. If you sign up for this program, you'll be able to answer. So you'll get essentially a ticket. You'll be given a ticket and you'll answer it. And then there will be a process, and you'll learn all this through the training that if you do sign up that you'll have to go through to participate. Level 2 are more difficult issues, and that is largely going to be sent on to either myself or other attorneys. Some will be in the National Bar Association, because the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law has a larger national voter protection program that they are partnering with, as we call it, Big Bar. So those will kind of also be filtered out, and they will be sent to field captains as well as myself, and sometimes attorneys at the higher level of the Big Bar. So again, the calls will come to lawyers and callers, and we'll be communicating with people who are asking questions. We'll also be working with the pastors or church-based lawyers who are at these polling sites. The calls will be made to a number which will be 1-833 for turnout, and there's the number on this screen, and that is our virtual command center. Now we're going to have multiple lines, so that way, multiple people can call into the same number. I will be helping to lead the command center along with you as volunteers, and I will be working alongside with field captains, which if you are interested in, we do have opportunities for that. We've already gone through what the level 1 and 2 is, but again, level 1 is basic voting issues, and level 2 are more difficult issues. So things that could escalate to litigation. Our point person for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, her name is Keena Jackson. I believe she's on the call. So she'll also be coordinating with us to address the higher level, which are level 2 issues. So things like, I've shown up at my polling place. It was supposed to be open at 6 a.m., but it's not open. Or my polling place was supposed to be open until 8 p.m., but it's 5:30 p.m. and it's closed. They're telling me they've run out of ballots. They're engaging in various forms of voter intimidation, or the lines are so long they're telling us to go home. Okay, again, we will be working to ensure that pastors who call in, as well as other people who call in with questions, can get that information either individually, or pastors can get that to their congregants who are going to be voting at these various polling places in these 9 states. So the structure, this is quick. This is actually from the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. There is the election protection lead, which will be someone like myself. And then we have people who are going to serve as field captains. So if you're interested in that, when you get the opportunity to sign up, and you'll receive that from the NBA YLD, I believe tomorrow morning. If you are specifically interested in that, you can let us know, and we will let you know the process for that. And we will be working with pastors, church-based lawyers, as well as individuals who do call in. Opportunities for NBA YLD members, and you don't have to be an attorney. I know that many of us are attorneys, but there are some opportunities if you're not if you aren't licensed yet, like if you finished law school and you just sat for the bar, you're waiting to hear back about your bar results. So you can still serve in that capacity as a command center volunteer, or again, as a field captain. Now, this is an important part of it. We will be assigning people to shifts. Some of you may be able to give the entire day to election protection efforts. So if you are able, we will be going from about 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And again, some of the states like Arizona are on, more of the Western time. So their polls close later, and that's why we're going to be going until 10 p.m. because we don't want to assume that everybody is on Eastern time. Like myself, I live in Washington, D.C. So once you sign up, you will sign up for shifts. So you can say morning shift or evening shift or all day. You'll be given your time. If there is some reason why you can't fulfill that, you should let us know as soon as possible, so that if we need to reassign someone else, we have the opportunity to do that. Also, if you sign up and you say, okay, I think I can only do the morning, but later you think you can do something else, please, again, let us know. We really need people to arrive on time because we know that these issues will be going probably from open to close. So it's very important that we have all hands on deck. You don't have to worry about wearing a mask or social distancing because this will be virtual. And so with respect to that and the orientation, you'll be more so introducing yourself to the pastors and the individuals that are calling in. And so essentially the voters who are having various issues. This just gives a sort of overview of the lawyers and callers structure. So again, somebody may call in with a level 1 issue. So they'll call in to the lawyers and callers dedicated hotline, which is the 8334 turnout. This will be staffed by all of us, wonderful attorneys, law students, and those in the legal field, so paralegals. And then we will determine if you get a call and you're not sure, that's when you would reach out to a field captain. So if someone calls and you think, okay, I'm not sure if this is a level 1 or a level 2 issue, that's where you would reach out if you're a command center volunteer to your field captain. And if they're not sure, then they'll reach out to myself or someone else who's designated to answer those questions. If it is a level 1, you should have the information accessible that you can answer it. You'll answer it and you'll close out the ticket and take the next call. If it's something that has to be elevated, then you'll refer that to myself or your field captains, and we will then take over from that point on, and you will also be able to close out and move on. This is a screenshot of, it's not the full, but this is a screenshot of the sign up that you'll be doing a Google form so that you can fill it out. And again, you'll receive that tomorrow. And so that will give you all of the information that you need. If you're barred in a particular state that we've named, so again, it's 9 states, and I'll list those in the chat when I complete speaking. If you are barred in any of those states, it would be helpful to know. So there is an opportunity to let us know if you're either from a particular state or barred in that state. So if you can let us know that, that would help, because we may want to assign you to a place you have a heightened level of expertise. And with that, I just want to make sure, are there any questions?
Thank you, Camille. If anyone has questions, you can put them in the chat. The questionnaire that Camille was referencing was actually sent out this morning, and so we've dropped the link in the chat. Mentioned, we do ask if you're from what state you're from. So if you are barred in that state, please let us know. in one of the 9 states. That was also in the email, but we can also drop, Camille is dropping the 9 states right now. And if there doesn't seem to be any questions, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can email me directly at chair@nbayld.org, and I will connect you with Camille. And so we are looking for volunteers. As mentioned, you do not have to be an attorney. You can be a law student. We are also, we have opportunities if you know of a paralegal or legal services professional. They can also participate, and we're hoping that people will sign up. We're taking President Hoffler's charge seriously, hashtag CK charge to vote. So please help us out if you're able to. Thank you, Camille. Well, I will wrap up with last minute announcements. So you've heard tonight what YLD has been doing. We have officially become a partner. We were selected as a partner with When We All Vote, and that has given us resources to help communities across the country, young lawyers and NBA members to register to vote. Those resources were dropped in the chat by Ashley. You've also heard about Lawyers and Collars. That's what we'll be doing on Election Day, and that's our election protection work. We are also working with the National Bar Association, the Big Bar, to help the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. That is an organization that sponsored Constitutional Amendment 4 in Florida that led to the restoration of vote for 1.4 million Floridians with felony convictions in 2018. It was the largest voting rights expansion in over 50 years. However, the state legislature in Florida responded by passing a law that requires returning citizens to pay off outstanding fees and fines associated with their convictions prior to being eligible to vote. That has made its way through the courts, and about 2 weeks ago, the 11th Circuit upheld that law. So the National Bar Association and the NBA YLD are collecting funds to donate to the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. We'll drop that link in the chat as well. And we have an upcoming event on September 28th at 4 p.m. We have an event that's called Black Lives Matter, the impact of racism on reproductive health, rights, and justice. And that's going to be with several other organizations and will be moderated by one of our social justice co-chairs, Preston Mitchum. So we hope you come out with that. Please make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We also have a LinkedIn page. We have a lot going on, and we hope that you join us. Thank you for coming out to our National Voters Registration Day event, and we'll get back to networking. We hope you have a great night.